Hello, church, and welcome to the Midweek Pastor's Update for Wednesday, April 7th, 2021. Well, what can I say about Easter Sunday? It was almost beyond what I can describe. It was so great. Two powerful, beautiful worship services. The first being the 7 a.m. sunrise service, about 30 people or so. At the Kahn residence. I want to say thank you to Damon and Olivia Kahn for letting us use your house again. Just a beautiful setting there. And then our outdoor service in the parking lot. 120 of you came on Sunday, and it was glorious. Just beautiful, beautiful service. Thank you all for bringing your full selves to that service. Just seeing you, though, that was what started it for me. Talked to many people who said they were just so emotional the whole service, and I get it. You know, just being in each other's presence is enough to stir that, and then the content of the service and the beauty of the service. I can't thank enough the Board of Worship for all their work helping to set up the chairs and tables and all the other aspects. You know, Scott Bond for his work with the AV equipment. The choir for singing and your flexibility, and Richard and Jane, of course. This whole time, you know, we have all had to figure out ways to continually grow into our capabilities, or maybe discovering capabilities that we didn't realize we had. And some of us go into that, you know, with just taking a flying leap, and some of us go in kicking and screaming. But for the most part, this has just been an amazing, awesome, you know, experience as we've been stepping, moving toward going into full-time live worship services again. So a little word on that. You know, it's such a moving target, isn't it? We get so much information coming at us all the time. So long as this is something that is agreeable with the volunteers, you know, Board of Worship and others, going forward, we're going to continue to do our parking lot services. And so far it looks good. I think we found a rhythm here that will work. And we'll do it for the time being and evaluate as we go forward. Because once we can move inside, and I know that you've probably seen the news, Governor Newsom just announced mid-June is the target for opening up the entire state, so to speak. So, you know, we might be doing outside services until then. We might decide to go inside before then, depending on what our tier is and just what's realistic. So we're going to constantly, you know, evaluate, but it is, I mean, look at it. It's just glorious. It's beautiful. 70s right now when I'm recording this. So I like doing it outside. As long as we can make it work, as long as it works for everybody involved as far as the setup, we're going to keep doing it for the time being. So it was just very powerful Sunday. I've been thinking about it, you know, kind of constantly since Sunday, and I wonder, you know, a lot of you shared with me that it just gave you a lot to chew on, to think about, but also just to be so grateful for. So, so great. Okay, a couple other little announcements. One is we have our next radio show, our State Theater radio show this Saturday, which is April 10th. So it's up here in the church parking lot. Those of you who came last time, come again, because it's all brand new shows. It's going to be great. It always is. And if you haven't come yet, just show up before 6 o'clock. You know, even if it's 5:45, generally you can find a spot. But you bring your own chair, bring your own blanket if you want something. But then bring food and a beverage too for yourselves to enjoy, and just sit out and just soak it in, because it's a lot of fun to see these live acted classic radio show performances. I will be there, but I won't be in the shows this week, only because I had mentioned to some of you before, I just didn't want to get too involved with rehearsals kind of right around Easter. So we still got two other shows, let's see, April 24th and then May 9th. It was originally May 8th, but now it's May 9th, which is a Sunday, because of some scheduling conflicts. But so I'll be involved in those ones, and one way or another, I always feel involved. I just love watching everyone kind of put themselves out there the way these shows allow. So I hope you'll come. I hope if you've come before, come again. If you haven't come yet, come this time, because it really is a blast. It's free. We just asked you to consider making a donation to support the State Theater, because, it's been rough for everybody. And certainly the arts have been slammed by this pandemic. So anything we can do to support our State Theater, which is such a hub of creative, artistic activity in town, I say it's just a wonderful opportunity. 100% of what you give goes to support the State Theater. So anyway, thank you in advance. It's such a great time. Oh, and then last thing, I wanted to reiterate too, because I don't know that I don't think I did a midweek update last week, but just to invite people to consider, if you wanted to give to that COVID relief fund. So we did that first push for it in January, February, and we were able to raise like $6,200, and it was all given to various groups in the community to support it, and it was just it's just wonderful to be able to do that. So if you have that opportunity again and you want to do that, please write a check to the First Congregational Church of Auburn, or FCC Auburn, and in the memo line put COVID Relief Fund, and it will go into that area, and then we will distribute it in a timely manner. So thank you all for considering that. Last thing I want to say is it's kind of funny. During the sermon on Sunday, I told a story at the outset of the sermon. I told a story about our experience on our vacation, and so many people came up and were like, how did it end? Because I never really completed it. I used it as an illustration, but then I went on with the sermon, so I never completed the story. So I told folks that I would use this midweek update to give you the completion of the story. Now, for those that weren't in church on Sunday or hadn't gotten a chance to see the sermon or the service, so we took 2 weeks ago, we decided to just drive down and take a family vacation in Mexico, just at a place called Rosarito Beach, not far from Tijuana. Actually, it was not a problem getting there. It was pretty straightforward. And when we arrived, it was this beautiful setting. This house, beautiful house. The house was gorgeous, and it was overlooking this incredible semi-private beach, crashing waves, awesome rock formations, just gorgeous. Pictures looked, or the reality looked just like the pictures showed, until about 20 minutes in, when we're starting to unpack, we start hearing this DJ music start pumping like house dance music, and we realized that there's a DJ beach dance club literally right below us. Not like underneath us below us, but like down the hill just 20 steps away. And the music is going, and it doesn't stop. Like ever, it doesn't stop. And so at first we're kind of getting into it, and kind of just incorporating it into the rhythms of our day. But then it comes like 10 p.m. and it's still going, and it just and then it picks up again at 8 o'clock the next morning. And so we were just, after a while, my wife and I kind of just looked at each other and said, this isn't really what we envisioned. This isn't how it was supposed to go. So that was what I told in the sermon. But the completion of it was, and I want to give her credit for this, because I tend to be more like, let's just make it work. I don't want to ruffle the feathers or whatever. Let's enjoy it for what it is, and that sort of thing. That's fine, but it wouldn't have been the right choice here. Well, she sort of says, we got to figure something out. So she reached out to the person that rented us the place. It was an Airbnb, and this woman couldn't have been more accommodating, understanding, and so we got a refund for what we hadn't. We stayed there for 3 days. We basically were there for that weekend, and we were able to get a refund for the rest of our time. And so we ended up going back up stateside and spending 4 days in Pismo Beach, which we'd never been to. So many people had told us about it, and it was just beautiful. It was awesome. Our kind of beach town, lots of rock formations and caves to explore, incredible tide pools, trails right along the coast, just a great place. So we had a fantastic family vacation, and it included Mexico. That was a part of it, because it was really cool to see. You know, it was sort of their spring break time, so that's why it was the DJ stuff. But you know, it still was really, really eye-opening and wonderful in its own way. But was glad to let that be there and to go up to Pismo, where we also had a great time. So that was the completion of that story. So for those that were worried that we just had a terrible time on our trip, no, that couldn't have been further from the truth. And the reality was, as it was happening, and this is kind of the way I'm wired these days, as it was happening, I'm kind of like, well, this would at least make a pretty good sermon illustration. So at the very least, we have that. So there you have it. That's the whole story. All right, friends. Well, I hope this update finds you all thriving, and I look forward to seeing you Saturday night at the radio show, and then Sunday morning at church, 10 a.m. in the parking lot. And again, if you're not comfortable coming yet, no problem. No problem. We will continue to record the services and offer an online version for as long as we do this. I think it's going to be, like I've said before, one way or another, that will continue to be a component of our worship going forward. So until we see each other one way or another, I hope you're all held in the peace and in the love of Christ.